Let me cool it.
Over here. Peace of Black Power. Welcome to Alkebulan News / Do the Lines Radio. Look, I told y'all didn't want to miss what was next. You understand what I'm saying? So we got beholding us. We got an African retributionary trifecta / tribunal. And we got some warriors, some true comrades that exemplify African manhood, African babahood, and what's necessary to reshape and mold our minds back to African consciousness. The root of the African family is the African man, so we got some African manhood to discuss, proper propaganda techniques that they have employed, that we have collaborated together with to fulfill the vision and the destiny of one God, one aim, and one destiny. So as we sit with our ode to the flag and the greatest, the boldest, and the coldest revolutionary who ever walked the face of the planet, who is also the spirit of our militia. The pages said of our militia and our mission. We have in our midst an African warrior who walks it like he's talking, a true disciple, not a damn cub. You got too many people running around here talking about their cubs and they in the club. They need to get hit with a damn club. We got a disciple of our true revolutionary insurrection ancestor, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, in the building. He got so many titles. We're gonna get into those titles in a second and what they mean. But I know our warrior comrade who continues to sojourn for the liberation and salvation of the African nation on a daily basis, and one of the strongest proper propaganda arms in regards to how we are reshaping and reframing the total African family experience through virtual media and through visual artistry. So the proper propaganda campaign of the mind, the body, and the spirit combined for the mission and task of going after the hearts and minds of African people in a true African sense. Let's give it up for our brother and warrior Thutmose Sankara and Sunyata, the mother, the greats.
Salute, people. Drop bombs for the base. You know what it is.
Let's do it. Propaganda.
So, we're going to talk propaganda. And when I think about propaganda, I think about how you have masterfully over the years brought African people together, unbeknownst to us, whether you have to bring us kicking and screaming, or you brought us together in a joyous type of space. So, for your background, Ted, when did you foresee the earliest call of bringing African people together in the manner that you know, the true propaganda in the African space?
The distinctive part that you said there is the way that I see it, because like growing up in certain tradition, you following the ways of the standard that's set forth. We know what it is. Get permission from the elders. Get your comrades to work with you. That's venue, platform, But for me, I think that kind of being in this space between the revolutionary generation of the Black Panther Party and that revolutionary hip hop generation made it only logical to seek to combine the two. And being in a space to work with revolutionaries and then learn the history of musicians and artists and other propaganda, graffiti, art, in all the ways that we bring forth in that artistic fashion revolution, you aren't a complete revolutionary unless you seek to master these forms. So I looked at what it is that could be done among us as African people here in the United States. I mean, come on. We talk that big bad stuff about, what it is, but I've been to some places where, they get down like every hour. So we use these forms and take advantage of the platform of media, particularly hip hop, since we can say confidently that this brand of art form with high technology in the drum, the b-boy, the MC, the DJ, feed the artist, that hip hop, that science, it's just like war.
Even the fashion.
Right.
Even the fashion.
It's your propaganda office. You look at what you have as tools to use as propaganda, how you influence people, how you bring about their revolutionary struggle, how you educate them about the history of their struggle, and how you do it where they can groove and have a good time at the same time.
Passing off the messages, passing off the vibrations and the frequencies, because that's the other element that's there.
Mm-hmm.
And the other way that they are being attacked. The frequencies and the vibrations, the
Right.
things that are the words, the spells that are coming out of the mouth of the artist are being used opposite of what their true purpose is for.
Right.
So,
Bring about a recalibration.
A realignment. You know what I mean? And the assignment. I got the assignment. You know what they say right now? I got the assignment. Yeah, well, the assignment is realignment. And giving it to you how it's supposed to be given in the balance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so powerful now because basically, they killing these little boys. They paying them to kill each other. Using our science is the same way, just like African spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
They get into it, they get involved, they learn how to manipulate different factions against each other, and then next thing you know, there's that split, that separation. So with us and what you guys, the artists, do with your magic, the way you spell out what the struggle is in that tradition that it comes from Pac and Brother Jay, the X-Clan, all the way back to the message and even before that, dealing with a certain aspect of it, you got to bring the comedy aspect into it. Where Richard Pryor, all this is art. All that is considered a part of it, and and then the artistry. It'd be a lot of stuff to laugh at sometimes because what we go through is so ridiculous. You almost have to make fun of it, but that psyche, that revolutionary mind state that goes through that music in connection with the drum is the key that it will grab the children and their psyche as long as we push it in a manner where they understand that this is something you have as a option in versus of what you're being offered and the depth and violence that follow behind. Here you have unity and positivity and consciousness, and over there you have flashiness and materialism and death.
And the truth is, if materialism is what you was really going for, you got to get your spirit, your mind, and your body right to even really gain that.
Right.
And when you have that, you're going to see basically that's not important, but it's still yours. I mean, because we represent the worth and the wealth of the planet, not just the nation of where we at. We're dealing with the planet because we're talking to other planets outside of this planet. You know what I mean? We representing for this planet here because we see that it's not really represented properly. And the original man is going through what they're going through. So if we don't step up and do what we need to do as the original people, you know what I mean, connecting ourselves to the original homeland of all peoples, why would we can't even represent your planet properly. You understand what I'm saying? You can't even, and you just think it's your neighborhood. We know that the neighborhood is the microcosm of what's really going on in the universe, as it is above, so it is below. So that beat of your heart, that beat of the drum, You know what I mean? If your heart ain't pumping right, you ain't living right. So we pumping what we saying, what we doing in our life, incorporating it in the music, in the muse think, making sure that the sound vibrates with your rhythm, your universal cosmic rhythm. And we telling you, red, black, green, Marcus Garvey's plan is the connection to the land that is actually supplying the rest of the planet with its wealth and its abundance. It's ours, even if we're satellited over here or over there. And this music is the tool to help bring all of that together and remind exactly why you're supposed to be making that great sacrifice that Paul Robeson said, taking that art and doing it for people. You understand? You understand? Overstand. We passed that. We in the overstanding period right now. And you know, that's what we need to be doing, and we doing as artists. To make sure.
I wanted to say something, boy. You know what I was thinking about is Conrad was talking. One of the things that, because you see kind of how I set things up with the festival,
Yeah.
you know, the pomp and circumstance,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I have to have these things. I have to have the flag flying. I have
Yeah.
to have the elder speaking. I got to have the children being represented, you know, and the vendors in the community have their time and space. But one thing I studied in regards to that was this German guy, Goebbels, who's Hitler's propaganda scripts, right?
Yeah.
This guy, Goebbels, how he would do it, he would, you know, you come out, they would be in all black.
Yeah.
They would just march and they just have a torch, right? And then the people would rally and then and he would do it on these particular days when these saints would be honored, right? Like the German pantheon. And he would go through all of these things to make sure all of these fine details were correct so that they could pull off the greatest scheme ever to exist to get them German people to convince themselves to be so proud to die when the whole world was against them.
Yeah.
Like, how could you be so good to convince these people to all die, knowing that the whole rest of the world is against them? Okay, you bad. I you Germans, you come from military tradition and stuff like this. But are you gonna beat the whole world? Yeah. Come on. Because Gerbil got you out here, he marching, he got the flags, he's telling you be proud. That's German.
Yeah.
That's what we have to recreate as Africans using our tools. Once again, the drum, the flag,
Yeah.
the ancestors,
Yeah.
the warrior tradition. And so, in regards to being like setting those things up, they are only good in the context of organization.
Mm-hmm.
Not only for pomp and circumstance in and of themselves, so, but that is one arm of what it is that you have to do in order to empower the people and bring that consciousness that you're trying to bring forward.
It's always got to lead to something. I like to deal with people who deal with solution music. Whereas we ain't just telling you the problem. We've been telling you about the problem for 30 years. You know what I mean? But the solution has got to be incorporated in the thing that you're saying. And when you telling somebody it's YOLO, you only live once, none of that is universally correct whatsoever. So you're automatically looking to go backwards and cause a chaotic situation. So what we got to do, what we're doing is making sure that you hear this direction, go this direction, do this type of thing. Don't just sit there and be like, oh, it's a party. Entertainment is one of the 9, what I like to say, the 10 elements of human development, right? So all parts of that entertainment at a war on all fronts. There's no breakage on it. All is all. You know what I'm saying? So if you're gonna do it all, this is not the only way to do it, but this is very vital to the warfare. A girl, Hillary Clinton, said it in the magazine a few years back. We know how important hip hop is. We use it when we go across seas. And America ain't so bad, and they take groups over there, they take revolutionary rap groups overseas. 6 months later, there's problems wherever they was at.
Yeah.
Now, whether they're using them as, agents to get in or whatever, it's still vibratory speaking is saying, hey, don't take whatever you're taking,
Right.
fight against it, and they use it, but they will not let us do that on the air here because they know the chess piece. She literally said it's a chess piece.
Well,
And when you talk about Marcus Garvey, what did he have us doing? We was dressed up, organized, in line, marching down the streets. Now
Right.
marching is a beat. That's a sound.
right.
That's music. That's music
Yeah,
to the
especially
organized.
when you got 25,000
What?
at one time.
Well, that's the first step. The first step of unifying is to get everybody on the same step.
On the same step.
The purpose. You understand?
Yeah.
And when everybody's in the same step, guess what you can see? Who ain't in fucking step?
Who ain't in step?
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
As soon as it goes out there, as soon as it's laid out, you can immediately recognize who not in the right uniform,
Uh-huh.
huh? And who's not in step. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is why they relegated marching to something that don't mean nothing. So when you hear people say, "Oh, we don't need to be marching," yeah, we do need to be marching.
We do.
We do need to be marching, but where are we marching to, and what's our objective when we get there? You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
This is where the soldierization comes from, because you spoke about the socialization, Conrad. The socialization started from the womb.
Right.
In order for Nazi Germany to be wanting to take over the world in 10 years. It started from the womb. They was intentionally not hugging their children and all that. You understand what I'm saying? They had kindergarten. So they broke the bond between mother and child in order to have soldiers coming out. You understand what I'm saying? But then they gave them a national consciousness.
Right.
They gave them a national consciousness for them to walk and talk together. So that nationalistic ideology is the mental marching. You see what I'm saying? And then what the promise was, a chicken in every pot and a car in every garage. You see what I'm saying? So this is what it was, and then they showed you the troops who was going to go do it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And then when they needed an advancement in technology, they went and snatched up some motherfuckers and put them in the camp, and this is all that they were doing.
Right.
None of that shit is wrong.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
None of that shit is wrong. We just have to look at it purposeful as your intention.
Right.
You know, who do you have within your nationalistic society, and what skill sets do they have?
Yeah.
And how are they going to be socialized? You see what I'm saying? We saw what we saw from an African center devoid of an African consciousness. You see what I'm saying? When Shaka rallied the troops together, he started with 50. He actually started with 49 because he was 50. And he trained them together separate from everybody else. Their goals, their aims, their objectives, their focus for them to go into battle. They had one mind. So back to the marching again. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's who's going to do what you're not going to do.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So these are different levels. The kamikaze pilot. What did they tell them to get into the planes? They knew
it wasn't coming back.
You understand what I'm saying? But the honor of the nation, them Somalis, Vietnam, all of the consciousness that comes after, there was a through line that if you left here, you're going straight to your ancestral realm.
Yeah.
Iraq and Afghanistan, you die a martyr, you're going straight to heaven. Let's go see now.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Let's go see. So even if they didn't have that kind of heart, they had that kind of heart going into that.
Facts.
You see what I'm saying?
Facts.
So these things are necessary in regards to the lockstep. And this is what this through line provides. And this is why we don't get to see the fruits of our labor with our music, because it does what it's supposed to do. And the proof is every place else in the world. When we said Wise Intelligence said this is what fueled Libya, this is what fueled the Egypt uprising, all of the shit that happened all of these different places outside of the country. And it's like, what was they listening to? Our shit. You You see what I'm saying? They was listening to our shit.
Yeah.
So this was the fuel on top of the dissatisfaction, because the dissatisfaction has to be there.
Right.
So when we look at this shit, like there is nowhere in the world where gas could be $7 and they still have a place.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So this is how they know no matter what. You know, I remember growing up with my aunt, and my aunt said as soon as cigarettes, you know, come $5, I ain't smoking no more. She been smoking until they was 11. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's no uprising, no outcry. We ain't burning down Newport or Marlboro and none of that shit.
None of that.
Let it don't be no rice outside the country. That's it. Like you like why they there ain't no rice. Ain't no more rice. That's what it's Tuesday. That's what the fuck we do on Tuesday. You understand what I'm saying? So the illusion that we have with fake safe space, you know, in this hyperdimensionalization of this improper campaign or the mind state that you safe in.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So until you ain't safe.
Till you recognize exactly where
and
you're
what
at.
they learned from fighting the British and the rest of the European world is they had to do shit in a guerrilla fashion. And they got their asses whipped everywhere they went through guerrilla tactics.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Not the regimented force on force type of situation. They look at the guerrilla tactics like it's cowardly. You wouldn't have no United States if they didn't do it.
Right.
Because the British.
Yeah, they had to hire fighters. They had to actually hire professional fighters, the Hessian troops, which were Germans, to carry out the field operations, the actual cannonball, long range fighting tactics that were being carried out. But that was because, of course, like you said, they were a guerrilla force. They didn't have the ability to carry out those large scale operations. Right. But getting back to our subject of this propaganda, so for the future, what we have, and speaking of also what you said earlier about how the whole world uses our created art form in Africa, particularly in Ghana.
Right.
This we were looking at the video before we came on live of this Afro drill music. These brothers in Ghana, in Kumasi. It's a complete imitation of this. It's like they call themselves, the name of the crew is Kumerica. Right? They call themselves Akata folk. If you travel back and forth to Africa, you know that they call the Africans for the United States Akata.
Yeah.
But these guys done took the Akata word and what we did with nigga and made it their own. They call themselves Akata folk. Right? And so their imitation of their inspiration was Pop Smoke. And so the music, they got this guy, Jungle Beats is doing some of the beats. Chris Rich, whoever this guy is, he's doing the majority of it. But it's so different because number one, drill music in America is based upon you killing another black man and then putting it in a rhyme. So they're doing that.
Which we don't do in bust shots at the devil, by the way.
Right.
Go get it right now. It's out right now. Bust shots at the devil.
At the devil. Not the brother.
Right.
So when you look at the videos and stuff, you see these guys incorporating African culture into hip hop at a greater level than we are because they are at home.
Right.
But it's going to be a task of us, I think, to say that we must give them the political education because on some of the other ones, they got, especially that boy, Kawabanga, and some of the other ones, you know what I'm saying? You hear him saying, using the B word for our sisters and you know what I mean? Things of that nature. So I think we need to get them guys, give them that proper political education. And then my goal would be to try to get them over here for one of the festivals because they're so hot that something they're going to have to go one way or the other. The views are millions and millions of views. And they've only traveled outside the country a couple times. But I think that the political consciousness, because it's a couple of things. One song called Sore. I have to show you that one.
I think I've seen that one.
That's the one where the brother said in the lyrics, he said, "Look in my eyes, see Kwame Nkrumah."
Yeah.
That's the real presidential black man.
Yeah.
See, that was the brother who was already established, Stormzy. So he's letting you can see when he get on the rhyme, it's a whole nother level.
Right.
he just,
Yeah.
you know, he start Holly Department crew.
Yeah,
So it's there. We have to connect to it and develop it.
There's a couple of cats that I've seen. I even know a brother named Bucky Raw, who was over here in Philadelphia for a while, and he got, when Trump came in, he got deported or something, but he over there doing his thing. But he know, you know what I mean? Like, I know what he know, and I know he know, but he also, you know what I mean, is an artist doing what he doing, such and such. So they're going through the same thing there that we going through here, feeling like they gotta give what we giving, you know what I mean, the imagery we giving, but they know something else. So you mean the connection, and even what we're about to do, what we're bringing the hood with the conscious cats and doing that here, is going to be the same type of feel as when Fela came to America and then went back there to talk to Africa about Africa. You know what I'm saying? We have that ability and that power, because in the same way that the continent is holding on to the wealth, we are a representation of that wealth, you know what I mean, refurbished back to them. But now we're connecting that wealth and this wealth. You know what I mean? We did our job by coming here before any type of enslavement, made the connection here, and then we're going to reconnect that through that
We
pathway.
gotta realize our symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
It goes cyclic.
Yeah.
It goes cyclic. And the thing about it that's most important, to go right back to the conversation about propaganda, we don't know the narrative. We've been fed a narrative, just as they've been fed a narrative. So they don't know their relationship to us, and we don't know our relationship to them. There's an onus. So from the inception of the Ma'afa, Africans fought, Africans killed, Africans died for Africans. But they give you a narrative like you sold your own people into slavery. So to foster the erasing of the African identity and the establishment of the American identity. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's a symbiotic relationship that's lost. So from the 1400s to the 1800s, Africans fought, continuously fought, continuously fought, continuously fought. You see what I'm saying? And then between the 1700s to the end of the 19th century, Africans fought and they left and returned to Africa. We have all of the evidence of repatriation from the 1700s on, and even earlier in some cases.
Right.
So there's a fight, and there's a retrieval. You see what I'm saying? And then there's a repatriation that goes. Now, if you look at 57 to 70, it's us liberating Africa.
Right.
West Africa from 57 to 70. West Africa, the place where we were taken largely from 57 to 70, fighting to liberate those places. So just like you said about Fela coming, before Fela came, Kwame Nkrumah came.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So we have to reconnect the dots back together. I think one of the most critical pieces that was done in an improper propaganda fashion was the movie Black Panther. There was only 3 scenes that was worth anything. One was the first scene where Njobu is over there with the brother and they had cased the bank. We have political prisoners. We're about to segue into that right now. We have political prisoners because of what happened between 57 and 70 in regards to the moves of financing the armed struggle resistance of the African continent. That transition from peacefully, asking to armed resistance.
So I always had to go through all those phases. It always goes through those phases. That's what people don't understand. That's why I really, really don't respect when people attack Dr. King, because they don't understand that every armed struggle goes through a nonviolent phase.
You have to represent
the North Koreans, the Russians, everybody. And so that Malcolm saw that mistake, said, hey, I'm going down here and holler at the man. Now I'm out of that stuff with them cats were telling me what to say. But in regards to us and our generation, it's so. Just imagine. I just think about this, right? It's called drone war,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
It's just all these small little cats, get buy one from Amazon, buy the high power computer, plug it in, program it, and just look at the video screen and just watch where it takes you every day.
Hmm.
So that appropriation that you speak of, which Matula, of course, Matula was charged with uh, giving funds to the ZANU PF liberation struggle in Zimbabwe.
Right.
So our struggle here is directly connected to the African liberation struggle. Sekou Odinga left and went to Cuba and then went and was a trainer in the office of the International Black Panther Party in Algeria.
Mm-hmm.
Baba Mukasa, the Laos County Freedom Party, the original Black Panther Party. He just got back from Venezuela,
Right.
and
Still putting work.
Not only Snake, of course, and not only he and Stokely and H.R. Brown and working through Snake, also it was involved. They established the Laos County Freedom Party way back in the 50s. This was before, what I'm saying, he and Bobby asked that they be another chapter of it. That's how the Black Panther Party for self-defense was formed. But Mukasa went home to him. He was down there with Fidel, and there was pictures of him with the Sandinistas in Nicaragua.
Right.
So that revolutionary tradition that we are inheriting, we have to, every generation decides among itself whether they want to sacrifice themselves for struggle. And, for ourselves, trying to find that place, trying to decide, having the opportunity to have served internationally with the Cubans, it's comforting to know and think within yourself you gave that sacrifice to a people, your people, all the way around the world. It builds a character within you that, that gives you a perspective on the world that takes you outside of this little narrow thing that we have to go through as Africans in the United States. And it makes you believe that you can do something more than even what it is that we think is the best that we can do here, which is just be positive, be economically successful, raise our children and educate them. It's like, no, we want to win the whole damn war.
Yeah.
All of it.
And not stop
From right here.
Until it
Drone war. Send the drones first.
according to the rules of liberation, you got to be willing to do what they do better than them, and at the end, still remain some sort of humane, so that the universe can respect the balance that you just brought in, and you can still keep moving in an upright zone.
And we say the most perfect example that I ever seen. It's like I'm over here in Angola right now with the Cubans, so I'm driving the dope bulldozer, and it's like after ops, and it's crazy because it's where we gotta go. A whole bunch of stuff been blown up.
Yeah.
And I'm in this bulldozer. We gotta move it, and the trees and the tangling and stuff, and this elephant grass and stuff, and these people bodies twisted all up in it. These South Africans, they blow. I think they blow themselves up in there. I don't even know what happened right there. But going through it, and the infantry coming behind, and these guys, I'm thinking these Cuban guys, right? I'm like, what are they doing? They got the machete out. They are hacking at these guys. Go. Like, okay, I can't think about what they do. I gotta go because these trees are falling, and I'm trying to do my job. So later on, we at the campfire. And it's a barrel, steel barrel of oil burning, right? Because it's all so many things. Somebody take a little dip of it, cook in, cook your food. Oil and stuff is in Africa. You understand, oil is so important in life. Not to put in your car and stuff. People cook with it every day. Whether it's palm oil, you get some motor oil, you can cook with it. Whatever you got grass, got oil, you can cook. Right. So I come out the tent, these guys got the barrel, and it's this big iron spike we got. boiling something in his oil. I'm not really thinking about it. But when I get up close and he stick the spike down there and he come up with it, it's a skull on it. I'm thinking like, man, that's crazy. You know, but these killing guys, especially them guys that you see with like the markings, it's like, let them do what they know.
Right.
But in the morning, like because this is a great night, it's a great ceremony going on. I done ate, got full, when the 10 woke back up, came out with 8, seen them, gonna look for it, I smell it, right? And so, but I go past and I see it. So what they did was they took the skulls of their dead enemies, put it in the backpack, took it back to Cuba, put it on their altar. So in order to do back to what they are doing, we have to use our tools.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's how Fidel was able to carry that thing out like that.
Yeah.
And walk through and be clean. Kick Cracker's ass and still be broken all the way, even though they're trying to kill him 600 something times.
but obviously it works. And I was just in Memphis yesterday. I don't know when it was, but recently. And then we went to Stax Museum of American Soul Music. And I'm gonna say that again. Stax Museum of American Soul Music. And I was
Stax was the record company.
Yes.
Right.
So I was like, I've been wanting to get there because you gotta understand soul music, where it came from, what it did, and it's really the birthplace of what hip hop had. I break it like this: the gospel music or the spirituals got us through what we was going through here.
Mm-hmm.
Spirituals turned into gospel music. The gospel music turned into the blues. You know what I mean?
Turned into soul,
R&B, and the soul. But that soul was there the entire time.
Of course.
It just got called soul later on.
Right.
But it's always been there. And it was that soul that we were singing, you know what I mean, all the way up through 40s, 50s, and 60s. That was telling us.
Then went to the funk.
But
then came the hip hop.
But even before that, it told us what to do. This is the first time in the history of music in this country where, and maybe even in the world, where some section of the music is not out there telling you what to do on some sort of fight, the oppression, move, something like that. It's not even positive music. It's like that. It's like no positive music in the urban community. It's the first time ever. It can never, it's only like that because it's orchestrated. So the same orchestration that they have done to us. Look at it. You know what I'm saying? And when they thought they shut down the music with the soul music and gave us disco, you know what I'm saying? We took that and rearranged and banged them in the head with the message. Because the first critical acclaim is Rapper's Delight, which is what these rappers are living now. They put it out there. They wanted you to live in the delightful world of misogyny, materialism, and blah, blah, blah. And just part of your way. Then they came back with the message, and that shook everything, what they thought they was going to do with hip hop and how they were going to allow it to come into the community.
Right.
And after you do the message, now they got the same problem.
But I want to say too, because it's important that also that funk.
Yes.
Because that slide and family stone.
Yes.
And that funk tradition that was brought in before hip hop, that drum aspect. You know, a lot of times we was using the electronic thing, but that beat. Before then, it was singing and it was melodic. And it was talking about our woman we love so much, which ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong.
You know what I mean? And keep doing that. And then in the 90s, you know what I'm saying? Now, you know, me and Born, we be talking about, you know, I got my playlist. The 90s, we came back, well, we was loving again, boy. Yeah, but I was too hard. We need to bring that back, you know what I mean? But that funk, that era with George and them and that consciousness, that cosmic slop and all of that, you know, he even used the propaganda
And
the
imagery,
media.
the
A
imagery.
movie. He made a whole movie about the crackers coming and taking all the people that had a certain amount of melanin in their skin in the 70s.
Everything that they were doing, they created the story that was the storyline, the baseline for what we're getting in the hip hop world. You know what I mean? Right now, from the sound, from the funk, from that vibration to the fact of they were telling you about Cernos, they were telling you about what do you mean star children, they were telling you about everything that you are, giving it to you in the same way and fashion that the so-called hieroglyphics give it to you on the wall. They were giving a story, and this is what. And here's the thing about hip hop. Why hip hop or what do you call rap is so important? And they ain't been telling you this, but I'm gonna tell it to you right now. The world was created through the word. The singing and the harmony is there. You know what I mean? That melody, that's that vibe, but it's the word. And don't nobody have more words than hip hop. That's why they wanted to dumb it down, take some of the words out, and just give them the repetitiveness and that dumb low vibe. But the word is the thing that casts the spell to create this, that, and the third. And these words in this hip hop and the thing that is the leading forward and bringing forward what we talk about in the propaganda is the job that we're doing right now. When you hear the words coming out of our mouth, when you hear Public Enemy's words, when you hear X-Clan's words, even to this day, and shout out to Brother Jay, because I just found out last week that he did all the music and the words on all the X-Clan albums.
Yeah.
At 17, 18, 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
What are y'all doing at this age? What are y'all Soldier Boy cats doing at this age? This God created 3 albums, because that Dark Sun Riders album is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Created 3 monumental albums at such a young age. You know what I'm saying? What are you doing at the age you're doing? Well, I'm making the money. Nah, we doing more than that. Because you're gonna get that money, you can get that wealth, but we're doing more than that. And that's what we are pushing for, that's what we're creating, that's what we're not letting happen anymore. We're taking the responsibility because we dropped the ball. Our generation said it was okay to get a check because as long as who cares who writes the rhymes, as long as you get the check, I write the check. We thought that was okay. The money does not replace the character and the content. And the character and the content is the thing that gave us the drive in every era. Burn Us Down, the Gap Band, you know what I'm saying? Marvin Gaye, come on. These are the words and the things that were pushing us. You mean Earth, Wind, and Fire, Stevie Wonder. We always had something there telling us which way to go, what we need to do, be socially conscious.
Let's take a trip to the motherland.
You know what I'm saying? So at this point in time, we are revamping what you think that you enjoy, because we're going to give you something that you need, and it's going to be like fresh fruit juice in the morning. You know what I'm saying? In the dawn, when you get up, oh wow, this is amazing. And then it's going to be like a vegetable smoothie, you know what I'm saying, in the midday. That's how we do it.
So I did want to ask you, because you was about to go another place. I want to keep you in here. Your earliest recollection or organization and earliest recollection of working with political prisoners.
Oh wow, working with and working on.
Both.
Working on. Early in the early 2000s in the New Black Panther Party. I had always heard of it before and knew the names, knew Matu's name, knew Leah's name. But when I got here and all the stuff that happened the year, so I get to Atlanta in November 2000, right? And I joined the New Black Panther Party. Got the Congress did in February. At the end of the year, they came for Imam Jamil out of me. The next year, the whole thing happened with Dr. York and all of that stuff, right? So I'm in the party, and because I didn't leave like after Dr. College transition, a lot of people like scattered. So those of us who were still there, we was looking at all this stuff having damn, that got something to do with what Dr. Counter, they came for everybody this year, right? So we still looking at that, and so that was the first time we was like, okay, now we got to print the paperwork, we got to put the names in there, we got to call the defense committee, and blah, 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 blah. So that was, and then I continued until 2004 when I quit the New Black Panther Party and joined WADU with Dr. Jefferson, Professor Smalls. That was more Pan-Africanist work, right? That was being a diplomat, traveling to Ethiopia, being sitting on the chair, and all that stuff. So I wasn't so much with it, that type of work then. I still did help when I would see events happening and all this stuff. Right? So that was 2007, the FBI came. So it's like, oh yeah, how long you been working with? It was a big, what happened when you became one? It's like, these people are really actually asking me to join the New Black Panther Party again and then tell them what they're doing. It's like, and I'm talking to Hashim, God bless his dead, he's like, yeah, it's another cat. We found out that that's what they were trying to do with him. He went on here and did it too because he had to charge them. Wow. So he's like, what did they say? So Willie Davis, we worked it out. I made bond, community paper bond 2 times, state and fed. Then the charge was for assault on shotgun. So it was crazy because I don't know if you know about these Fed statutes, right? Regular gun charge stuff is like 922, 924. They got the letters afterwards, 924 A, B, C, D, right? Mine was 5861. By sawing off this shotgun, it made it where it was like an explosive device, and it was in the back of the statute, like 5861 back there with air piracy.
Wow.
Chocolate.
Yeah.
Chocolate of the moment. It was looking like forever until he came and said, wait a minute, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. And then they said, 48 months, that's all? Oh, man, I'm talking shit. I remember that.
Right.
And then they sent me in there. And Feds is different than the state. This ain't these little dudes you know from brown places. Just people from all around the world. Against the cats, then it was, the big thing then was sending the Mexicans and the Mexican mafia and all that stuff. It was real crazy. But I meet Veron Survivors, and that changed the whole thing. Now I'm sitting with a Black Panther political president. I've been there 40-something years, and I'm in here with it.
Right.
So that did 2 things. Number 1, it made it when I came home. Now I'm hyperspeed with it because I not only have that prior, experience organizationally briefly with it, but now I've been one virtually.
Right.
So now it's, hey, Mama Pam, everybody else that's out of the Malcolm X grassroots movement who works with the Jericho movement,
Right.
and the white folks, and I guess Black Cross, and whoever trying to get some people that from the Black Panther Party out of prison, all of them,
I mean,
it's just like, some decisions within that joint right there is like, I don't want to work with these people. Well, then the people that's doing the thing that's helping me, if you don't want to help me, fine. Well, I ain't gonna go to the thing. I just send some.
Now the flip side, you go man real quick. I know you about to.
Mm-hmm.
The flip side, I want to add for you. My timeline is 98 to 2002.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in during the time with the lawsuits, going to court saying we can't use gun and all that, and going to visit folk who there's a rift now.
Yeah.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So we go.
The nation rift.
Yeah, the nation rift and the internal OG Panthers who mess with us, who don't.
Yeah.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I'm sifting through that at a young age. I'm 18 years old. You understand?
Right.
I came into the party right after the first Man Youth March.
Right. Wow.
Fisticuffs in the street against NYPD.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how I came into the party.
Right.
This is who came in the party with me. You understand?
Right.
200, 300 deep. We came in like that. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? So we're in there with this kind of consciousness, thinking everything is everything, and then we see shit's unraveling,
Mm-hmm.
where everything wasn't everything, and everybody wasn't who they said they was.
Right.
You
Right.
see what I'm saying? So we seen that this was impending because who was in the party? Because prior to that, with Aaron Michaels, there was a light heart in the party. So there's shifts. There's an Aaron Michaels shift, and then there's a Dr. College shift. Right after Jasper, Texas. All the shit's like aligned. Everything's crazy.
Right.
Boom.
Yeah,
so
man,
that boom explosion is something you couldn't hide anymore. You couldn't give out the clothes and all. You couldn't, do free breakfast or any community type of situation no more because of Jasper, Texas.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So no matter what we did, everybody remember is Doc with the AK-47. See what I'm saying?
Right.
They came and asked him to be the chair after that in Jasper.
Right.
Think about that shit. Like he shot up, healing up, and he asked him to come to the forefront. He could have said, hell no, he came to the forefront.
Right.
What was we gonna do?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
He came to the forefront. We rolled right the fuck with him.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? With everything that was known still because of the rifts and shifts. You see what I'm saying? So this had existed 10 years prior. When Hugh was assassinated a month later, is how far back the new Panther Party goes.
Right.
People don't know that history.
Right.
So they know from Doc's time, but they don't know that there's a time that preceded it for. Like right after the death of Huey and Yusuf Hawkins and all that shit.
Yeah.
Right there. So we grew up wanting to be Panthers and didn't know that there was a formation.
Right.
Because it was localized in Dallas. You see what I'm saying? So all these things come to fruition with that push. So think about this identity to even see what we see in that array. All the hell you had to go through amongst people who were before you.
Right.
And just like Tut stated earlier, they was the last ones to come to the party.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? There were plenty of armed resistant organizations that existed prior to them. They was the last one. We give
the
them
African Blood Brotherhood.
Yes.
Them boys, Deacons for the
right, Deacons for Defense and Justice. There was so many. So from as early as the 1700s on through armed resistance. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Self-defense. So this idea, and then for them to come in and take it away from God consciousness was another slight.
It was.
There
It
was
is.
another slight. And anti-African sentiments.
Yes.
There was another slight. So it's like, what are you?
But that was, we slipped on that because, I have to be, retrospective on it because, like, the party, right? Okay, look, you come and ask Stokely them, who in the South, who got a real political party that voted and putting people in office, John Hewlett, if I'm not mistaken, that brother who was the president who started that Lowndes County thing. Bob Mukasana came in with him. He was the local brother, and Bob Mukasana was with Snick. And then Snick was organized in there, and they got with brother and Luke came in, Stokely and everybody, and they made the party. Like, we ain't gonna be a part of the Democratic Party of the cracker.
Right.
We're gonna make our own black party. And so Huey and Bobby asked that they make their own thing, but they didn't do that. They didn't form a political party.
Right.
They formed a demonstration faction. They had to understand the difference in strategy.
Right.
So that's the original Lounge Party was what was supposed to be the national thing that took off, not the thing that was localized in California.
Remember they had to denounce Robert Williams. You see what I'm saying? Same shit. So it's like And the Klan ran that on the loop through the radio all day, all day.
That's frustrating.
So undermining is
So you're that strategy, and it still ain't been picked up yet,
Right.
you know, and that's why, like I said, as we winding up here, let's give it like 10 more on this section. But like I told you before, the RBG Nation has to be organized into its own self-perpetuating propaganda organ of the new African nation.
Relax. And we already had, it's like the road is already there. The tools are already sitting there on the side of the road. Somebody got to pick it up. Somebody got to say, that's what this tool is for. And this is what we're doing. We're wiping off the leaves, you know what I mean? And letting people know everywhere, because everywhere I go, we there.
Mm-hmm.
And we there doing something. It's not like people are just out here, I just got my red, black, and green, and ain't doing nothing.
Right.
I mean, it does, and I'm talking about the small cities and the big cities. I go to all of them. I'm at all spots at all times, and I'm telling you, we everywhere. You can see it. I was watching a Brother J interview, and he was had 3 other people on there. 2 of them was MCs on some consciousness, but you could see that they was on something, but they don't know that you're not alone. And I don't know how you don't know this. I know this. I see it.
Bro, look, the most frustrating thing of it all to me is that, you know, from things which Bowen know about to trying, you know, connecting to some of the more high profile conscious artists and missing on the unity on that to actually dealing with, as you've seen, the political prisoner agenda and working to liberate these comrades who gave us pocket and who inspired us to struggle, Sekou and Deruba and all these guys. But us organizing has to be something that we take absolutely, which, you know, may not be preached to the choir, but organizing has to become the thing that we understand that is going to be absolutely necessary for survival on all levels. Whether you just a little church group and you got to save up your water and food, not because you don't want these people to stick your children with this meat.
Right.
Organization for African people is the thing that they taught out of us, you know, and to the point where the structure, you know, of within our families and communities has been distorted to a degree that those anti-revolutionary propaganda organs through the radio, through their cultural mechanism, have now infiltrated our children to a degree by which they're destroying our own community.
And they're doing a rapid job at it. I will say this though, they can't win. See, when you double up on your positives, even on a negative, it fixes the negative. So it's double, triple the work. And the more that I recognize that they are not the enemy, but just a tool of the situation the enemy uses, that it's less that I'm even concerned about you doing the things you're doing and more concerned about how can I help you do that better with more quality, okay? And once you start getting the information and start seeing what it is that you need to know historically, what it is that you need to know vibrationally, what it is that you need to know in anything community-wise and what you really come from, you're going to stop saying that shit. You're going to stop doing that. And you're going to start working for the betterment of yourself, family, culture, universe, most high first, with a red, black, green flag around it.
They say, oh, I'm going to teach you how to do that better.
Better.
Give them the last piece. You know, we all here under this banner. Alkebulan News.
You want to go ahead first?
What was the last part?
You want me to? Okay.
Yeah. Give me the last part about Alkebulan News, the purpose, motivation.
Okay.
Give us the Alkebulan News story before we go.
What I wanted to do was, because that's what I was saying earlier, I had done all this work with political prisoners, right? So once again, like, go back to working in the party, learning about them, holding campaigns for them, producing publications in their honor, and then
That work.
becoming one, right?
Because of
Coming
that work.
home, right?
Right.
And then the odd part about it, comrade, the strangest part about it all to me was remembering in 1999 and 2000 and 2001, studying about and then working towards the liberation of Sekou Odinga and the move comrades in them. And then in 2015, 16, 17, I'm working with them and they're out and free. That's the freakiest part of it.
Mm.
I told Sekou when he was here, I was like, man, look, like to study somebody and then like when you be calling me, you be like, it's like he be like you be he had to tell me, okay, Thutmose, look, this is why I called. Cause I just started talking about some stuff about when I was studying him before and what it was that I know about him. Right. And he know that by now because I told the story 50 times. Right. But when you talk about Sekou Odinga and the fact that he was a political officer of the Black Panther Party that ran the international office in Algeria, then I realized that someone has to put these facts in a orderly fashion to give the proper representation of the revolutionary history, contemporary of Africans in the United States and how they have contributed to the world internationally. And how that struggle is continuing within the side of the United States. That's one portfolio of the office of being the chair of the African Union chapter in Georgia, the South region. But it's more. So doing that work from 2011 when I came home from the feds till now, right, with WRG on the radio, Political Prisoner Report. 10 years.
Yeah.
So, but at that point, it became where the office of chairman of the African Union became where I had to share more of the responsibility of reporting more things in regards to the worldwide struggle of liberation of African people. And that was a tough thing because being a political prisoner had been a personal thing that had occurred to me, right? That separated me from my family. And I still think about it. And I still talk to my comrades who still back there and all this stuff, right? But Professor James Smalls and Baba Mukasa, they got Professor Smalls is the malevolent one, but Baba Mukasa, he know how to tell it to you in a way that just make you think about it, but don't make you feel like you're crushing your ego, right? So, but it all boiled down to saying that you have to take the full responsibility of being the officer of the African Union and a diplomatic officer of the world and deal with the full spectrum of portfolios that you have to deal with in that office and station. So, Alkebulan News is the news organ of that station to be able to report what is going on with our people in West Papua New Guinea, what is going on in the continent, what is happening here in Atlanta, what is going on all around the world in regards to the African revolutionary struggle of the African people. So I needed to kind of stretch my wings, not to say that it's a funny thing because like talking to Mama Pan Africa and say cool and things like, yeah, I'm gonna be doing this thing now. I'll keep my news. Don't be calling me. I want you on it, right? But now I have an hour or two if I want. I do it on one.
Right.
So I needed to grow into that, but I needed to take these steps. First, do Black Panther Party Radio, doing it, radio still, having that platform, having them 2 hours still with the comrade sister. Shout out to New Black Panther Party, Sister Crystal Muhammad. But then my goal was to move to video form, like I told Born, so that I have a professional video news show. With the graphics in the back form, in the back when I'm talking about Mozambique, the graphics right there.
Yeah. Point to it.
Like some African-centered Bernard Shaw type shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Mozambique today, ISIS rebels are trying to overrun that region of the country here in northern Mozambique, as you can see. But the Southern African Development Community has put together a united force consisting of Zimbabwe, Angola, South Africa, and Malawi. And they are on the march against these insurgents, killing 17 today, and staying here in this encampment that you can see in Kalemi there in the north of Mozambique. And then the Congo, yeah, like that. That's how I want it. That's what we're going to.
That's what it
That's
is.
how people
That's
are.
the manifesto.
That's the vision. And you see the logo, you know what it is.
Yeah.
The Office of the African Union,
Don't look.
it's news station, it's news department, it's information office,
Yeah.
propaganda chief.
That type. I will add to that as in, man, that's a dope idea. Hold on. I'm a fan over here, so you gotta let me go ahead and get my fan.
While you add to that, when you add, close out too. So
Okay.
that shit's simultaneous.
Yeah. Cause I'm just over here. I'm riding with what he's saying like, yeah, I'm envisioning, and that's what it takes. The part that I have, and I know that I'm playing, is with the Check the Mind show, which is definitely dealing with seeing where we're at mentally, trauma-wise, how we can heal, what is our opinions, what is our solutions, each and every day in all 10 aspects of human development, and then added with the vintage season, which brings in the maturity of the music and gives a different direction, which you already understand, you already know what it is. It's RBG, no Gucci for all day, all life. It's our shit. So bringing us forward with the sounds and the vibrations as we march into the war, as we fight in the war, as we win the war, and as we celebrate that win of the war. The sound of the drum, the voice, and the calling is all there. That's what we're dealing with within the music and the artistry, the proper propaganda. And I say salute to y'all who get it. Cause you go.
Look, New Africa, as I always say, stay vigilant.
That's all they're gonna say.
Stay vigilant. Keep
That's what y'all
get them things and put them up. I can't give you the strategy. You got to sit with me and go through the political education and get all of the details. No good general gives out them kind of details.
Wouldn't do that here anyhow.
Right? That guy taught me that. He made me his minister of education. I came back from Cuba. I wanted to be the minister of defense, right? I need to be the minister of defense. You know, no, brother, no, my brother. You're going to be my minister of education. You're going to teach people that experience about what it is that you went through. And that really is what set that track of not so much rah-rah to thinking. And when he said it, like, you would trust me to teach other people? All right, I'll do that. So it's like all these tools.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's what you have when you teach these tools. We can deal with certain type of tools on one level, and we have to deal with other type of tools on another level. So, and there's a hierarchy,
Right.
and how one steps up through these particular grades of knowledge to become that warrior, god or goddess, which, like I said, deals with the mental aspect first before you even deal with any of those physical things that have to be done in the defense of the nation.
Everything is mental. First rule.
So this was the Envision this propaganda campaign that's 2,500 episodes strong and deep, and been a thriving force for African insurrection and African reformation, psychologically, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. This is why I can't depart. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because all it takes is a little bit of sprinkle of sugar to integrate, and then it's over. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's no longer
Done.
Yeah.
It ain't the same thing anymore.
right. So
Keep it real.
we're dealing with it in a holistic fashion, and it will never depart from its flight plan because this is a veneration tool for our ancestors, the voice of the voiceless, and in remembrance for the forgotten and the fallen. You see what I'm saying? So this is why Do Not Miss Radio was instituted and put together, from my own mother and my own father, you understand, to the African nation holistically who purport and push and live an African life. I believe that distinction. This shit ain't for everybody.
No,
Yes, sir.
not even trying.
Yeah. So, thank you, my brother. Thank you for your efforts. I mean, born fresh out of the road, we drove all the way down here, straight into the work. And we went straight in the sun first, and now we here together, and we still fit to do some more. So appreciate your effort, comrade, and appreciate you, African community. I see the boys that over there on the lives. I know y'all, those chosen who see that political information. We're gonna continue to try to bring these things to you in this type of platform so that we can share this political information as we organize towards our liberation in this time where the Frankensteins are out. Frankenstein is out. So y'all stay tuned, and you got something before we go, comrade?
Look, hit me, STGR8, you know what I'm saying, underscore is my IG, 470-546-1677 is the number. Bear with me. If you are a conscious artist, if you are an RPG artist, understand, we're doing some things, putting it together. I believe it is May 20th. In May, we're going to be out in Arizona for RBG out in Arizona. That's going to be fire. And that was brought together. We even forgot to touch on that at the Arkansas, you know what I mean? We solidified that, you mean? And I think it's a 2-day event as well. So, you mean, look out for that. But we're going to be bringing these events and these promotions for people. We're looking for artists, consciousness, you know what I mean? We're also looking for the hood artists, but you got to come with something proper in one of them songs you bring. You know what I mean? It can't all be destruction. You got to bring some sort of building. But we're going to be doing this on a bi-weekly to a weekly situation, and we're going to be charging but donating. All right? So you're not just putting up your money just so that somebody gets rich. It's about the donation. It's about you believing in yourself and your art enough to say, I want to be a part of this, and I want to help in the community and push toward the freedom of our people, liberation of the mind, liberation of the body, liberation of our culture. And keep our eyes. So hit me up if you want to be involved in that.
Salute to Marcus Garvey.
Salute.
Catch us every Tuesday on Alkebulan News, NBPP Radio, Thutmose, Sankara, YouTube, Quixote Scarborough, Facebook Live. Salute, African family. Peace and blessings, and stay vigilant.